One, two, 1, 2, 3.
Hey, and welcome to Missed Takes, a show where we disprove movie goofs with a combination of quick wit and bullshit. I'm your host, Ryan. With me, as always, is my co-host, Eric.
Hello.
And our guest today is Jim.
Hey.
Now, if you haven't seen the show before, what we do on Missed Takes is we take a single movie, we go through a list of movie mistakes, and it's up to us to explain why they're not actually mistakes at all, but we have to explain it within the context of the film itself. And that film is...
Braveheart.
Braveheart, the story of William Wallace with questionable historical accuracy.
Well,
the beer we're drinking is Get Wavy from Mikerphone. Cheers.
cheers. Cheers.
We chose Get Wavy because the scene where they're taunting the English and they're waving their junk around, but also there is some fantastically wavy hair in this film. And a big thank you to Mikerphone Brewing in Elk Grove, Illinois, who is letting us both enjoy their tasty beers and shoot in their badass tap room. I'm going to hit that. Boom, that's a link right there. Hit it. Ooh! Editing skills! Not really, just click on it. It's fine. I can click on it? Sure. So before we get into the movie mistakes, we're going to take a couple minutes for hot takes, just kind of our fresh reactions from having recently watched the film, stuff you didn't notice before, or just impressions that you got this time. So, Braveheart hot takes.
There are an incredible amount of time jumps where it seems like one thing is going on, and then you've gone maybe 5 days into the future,
Yep.
and it's completely different. Or it's all been in the span of 24 hours.
Kind of hard to tell, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's like,
a little bit.
I mean, even some of the locations where it's like, okay, it's all very picturesque. I mean, they did do some amazing cinematography to make,
Totally.
Scotland look beautiful. How are they moving so fast? Like, within the time given, it's like,
Well,
they made a big point where they didn't have horses, so it's like, if you're marching, it's like, that's a lot of running, or it's the old Uber.
They took the Lord of the Rings approach. Like, you see him running up a mountain at one point, so if you see someone running on a mountain, clearly they're traveling several miles in a very...
You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Lord of the Rings travel is how that works.
If you
Yeah.
move the camera one way, you have your cast running the other way,
Yeah.
and
Something,
it's on a mountaintop, you are covering so much ground.
something I noticed, it never really occurred to me how funny it is. One of the first lines in the movie is like, historians may call me a liar. So I think it's funny they're like basically saying, like, look, this is going to be history?
We took some liberties.
But yeah, but they basically call it out of the gate,
Strap in.
like, sorry, you can't bitch about it later, because I
Yeah.
told you historians may call me a liar.
Exactly.
But also, it's in this weird, arrogant way, where, like, if you try to come back and say, like, that's not the year that happened, be like, yeah, that's what the history books tell you.
Right, yeah.
This is what really happened, because I was there.
Based on a true story.
Based on true story. For some reason, almost all of the British Army looks like Ed Sheeran. I don't know why that's the thing, but I think Ed Sheeran was the entire British Army.
Yeah, well, right. Ed Sheeran before he was famous.
Right, he was like, it was just clones of Ed
inserted
Sheeran. It's
him.
like clone
Yeah.
troopers, just
Yes.
a bunch of Ed Sheerans.
Yes, exactly.
Rough movie to be a horse in.
Wow, so many
Just,
horse deaths.
So many horse deaths.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
If for some reason you haven't seen this movie and you have a soft spot for any animals, whatsoever, maybe give this one a pass.
Yeah, like I feel like maybe some of the horses knew. Like one of the horses is really excited that he gets a job in a movie, and they're like, "Oh my God, what are you going to be in? I'm going to be in Braveheart."
Oh, the Mel Gibson movie.
Cool!
Oh God!
Awesome,
Good for
Jerry.
you, bro.
Do we tell him? No, good
Yeah,
luck.
right,
Oh
exactly,
God,
yeah.
no, Jerry.
Yeah,
We're never going to see him again.
We're not going to see him again.
No.
Jerry's done for.
Although they did, no actual, animals were harmed in the making of the
Well,
movie.
that's what the
They
history
got the
books
book
tell you.
They got
According
the
to
tag in the
historians,
movies.
yeah.
They got the tag in the movies.
That's true. This movie is a great example of something I call movie stew. Literally, because for some strange reason, the stew in movies always looks amazing. So right in the beginning, when Argyle's like going ham and like dipping the bread in the stew, I'm like, I don't care about William Wallace's dead father. I'm like, fuck, I want that stew.
This is a,
Like,
this is a
fucking want it
food
so bad.
thing in movies in general where I will find food way more appetizing than it actually probably
Like, I
is.
want that so bad.
Yeah.
Like the stew was the star of the
Yes.
first third of this film.
Yeah.
This Braveheart movie stew.
Yeah.
I also like how the whole message that William Wallace gets from I think it's his father, right? Is that use what's in here, not in here.
Oh, that's his uncle, isn't it? Well, maybe. It's
no, but right in the beginning,
that's the Wallace family
like,
mantra,
right? Because
right?
when his dad's leaving, I think he's like, "It's our wits that make us."
Oh
men."
yeah, you're right. You're right.
And that's the message he takes away, except for he says, "It's our wits that makes us men," and then he dies 3 minutes later. So
Yes.
like maybe if someone gives you advice and then dies from that advice almost immediately,
Yeah.
it's questionable advice. I'm just saying maybe don't live your life by that.
Also, that's a good segue for so let's get right into like one of the first, historical things that we could kind of
Hit
tie
me.
into
Digging in mistakes.
Okay.
Let's go.
So his dad makes that big deal about, it's like, use your head, and then gets strung up in a barn.
Yeah.
So it's like, if he was so clever, how did he not see that? But also,
He was not using his wits at all.
No.
there is no, as far as the historians are concerned, apologies for the accent.
I will not
There's-
apologize.
There's no evidence.
It's our accents that make us men.
There's no documented evidence that there was an Uncle Argyle,
Okay.
for William Wallace. So-
Then where did the socks come from?
Hey.
Checkmate.
I'm thinking that Uncle Argyle is essentially this kid's Tyler Durden.
Holy shit, he doesn't exist?
Whoa.
It's just, this kid's left on his own, basically semi-feral, loathes the British, wants to fight them, but basically has this imaginary friend that pops up going, well, you can't beat him in a fist fight, you gotta get a little smarter than that, and just basically runs this kid around the world. It's like, oh, you want to kill people? Here's how you fucking make warfare, kid. Follow me, and it's just...
I'm so excited about this. His imaginary friend is Brian Cox.
Great.
That's so cool.
Okay.
All of us should only be so lucky. We should-
So, and I wish there was a scene later where he's like, I learned this from my Uncle Argyle. I'm like, you don't have an Uncle
Yeah,
Argyle.
everybody's like, what? Well, you just kind of walked off on your own way back
Well,
when.
so now I'm also kind of hoping that like he never actually went to Rome or France. He just like was starving in this like ditch, but just went on this fantastical journey with his Uncle Argyle.
Yeah,
Had a Rosetta Stone moment.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, a lot of that hits some of the history stuff where they say this never happened. Well, it happened in his own Fight Club version of it.
Yeah, right, exactly.
The first rule of Sterling is you don't talk about Sterling.
In a major fight scene, two soldiers on opposite sides of the conflict can be seen in the background, just tapping each other on the head and jumping around and spinning.
I saw this.
But obviously, those are not extras fucking around.
No.
This takes place in the movie, so how is that not a mistake?
I would say that this rebellion, it had to be somewhat akin to the Civil War, where it kind of tore a few houses down the middle, where it's like
Oh, for sure.
So it's like maybe those were just two like brothers, cousins, like it's like, and they kind of it's like, oh shit, you're here. Well, we can't.
we're fighting.
We can't run away, otherwise they're gonna string us up for cowardice. But
And you can't just stand there. Okay.
So it's like, just you move that way, I'll move this. Just tap.
Make it
fighting,
look good.
fighting. It's like
Parry, thrust, thrust. Okay.
It's just doing the Daffy Duck school of fighting, like haha, turn, parry, thrust, spin, and just backing away, or it's like, no, I'll kill that other guy, not him. Just
I like that. Little brother versus brother.
Yeah,
happening
absolutely.
there.
Yeah.
Or brother versus Ed Sheeran, but whatever. That's fine.
clone versus clone.
Yeah.
So one of the classic mistakes from this film is the van. At one point in the film, you can clearly see a white van just driving past in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, this is a historical film. That wasn't a van. It looks like a movie mistake, but it wasn't a van. But what was it?
I mean, that was a behemoth of, I can't think
Like
of
a
any
siege
animal.
engine or something. Yeah.
Well, no, I wouldn't say it's some sort of animal. I just don't know my Scottish animals. Sorry, Scotland.
So here's what I would say. I would say that by this point in the story, people have realized how bad of a time the horses are having. So I think that's just rudimentary horse armor. And that horse is hauling ass, but it's just a box. It's rudimentary, okay?
That's the best the Scots can do.
Or it's like, hey,
First off, I would like to apologize to all Scottish people. I'm sure you can. Most Scottish people?
Scottish people that were in this movie.
Okay.
This is a Scotland that does not exist
Okay.
anywhere.
Well, yeah, well then fuck them.
so the Mark
Who
I,
cares?
so the Mark I horse armor.
Mark one.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, later on, like it's really smooth and it's red and chromed out. Like
Right.
if the film
Gold,
continues to see,
red and gold, regal colors.
Right.
So yeah, this
Reserved for
is Mark One,
The Tony Stark of Sterling.
Mark One, Iron
Tony
Horse.
Sterling, Anthony Sterling,
Um,
Mark Anthony of Sterling.
Yeah, there you go.
At the end of the film, which as a side note, one of my favorite parts at the end is when he throws the claymore and it sticks, and it's
Yeah,
this really
somehow.
dramatic moment. But like, I feel like again, even within the storyline, I'm sure Hamish is like. Stick, because it's really it's not cool if it goes bang, like
And then 100% when
Charge,
he
I
does it,
guess.
you see him go.
Oh, did you fucking see that? It fucking stuck. Oh, I told you it fucking stick. All right. That accent changed 3 times in one sentence.
Yes, it did.
Um,
Much like Murren.
well, she's just playing hard to get,
Oh, okay. So
even linguistically.
partially English, partially
Like maybe
Scottish?
he'll
Yeah.
be so revolted by an English
something,
accent. Let's see if he really wants to get after this, even if I'm pretending to be British.
Yeah, it's kind of
Totally
like
is.
like do I wear the sweater that shows the boobs, or do I wear like the sweater that's a little more modest because I want to work for it? Same thing. You change your accent, like ooh, which one's gonna
Right.
get him hot and bothered?
Right. No, but that is because that she was sent to England after William left, right, and just was
Right.
like brainwashed into and changed her accent. And
Mhm.
but she came back and she had to try to fit in. So she's
Right.
like English
The-
Scottish.
Oh, so she was like some double agent shit.
Yes, absolutely she was.
Oh well, obviously.
So all of a sudden, this movie became way more interesting if there is a fight club and espionage.
yeah. So
element.
Uncle Argyle doesn't exist, and his wife is a double agent spy.
We never
Which-
see
and
her
again-
throat get cut.
Oh
They make
shit!
the
She's not
action,
dead. Oh my god, she's not dead.
And then they bury a body double.
I can't wait for Braveheart 2. Oh, it's gonna be so good.
Well, isn't that
The
already
Rise
on
of Murren.
Netflix, or-
It probably is. It was direct video, but yeah, the Rise of Murren.
It's VOD. Yeah. But again, much like Murren, where it's like we don't actually ever see him die. So what if his dad just kind of sold out to the British to kind of be like, look, leave my son alone. Let me. I'm tired of this shit.
And just to go back to the Argyle thing, because I'm still so excited about that, he's not at the funeral. He shows up right after because he doesn't fucking exist. Because you never see, it's like that whole Sixth Sense thing. Like you never see Argyle talking to anyone except for William Wallace. So like you can't have him in the funeral because he's not real. He shows up right after conveniently. Oh my god.
Are we trying to say that Fight Club was 100% stolen from Braveheart right now? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Inspired.
Yeah, I think
Okay, you're right, it's
Polaniak's got a
minor.
lot of explaining
You're
to do.
right.
Like we gave him all this credit for this amazing storyline. Oh, you mean Braveheart?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So Chuck Palahniuk wasn't just writing like this fragmentary, like like anarchistic storyline. He was just paying a loving homage of an updated
Right,
version
and
This
of
amazing
William
movie
Wallace.
because he loved every second of it because it all made
right,
sense to him.
Because he was so enraptured, he just started digging into the nitty gritty. It's like, oh wait, I get it. This is what they wanted.
Okay, so Uncle Argyle doesn't exist.
Yep.
His father's still alive
Yep.
and hiding somewhere, and Murren is still alive because she was never actually killed.
Right.
And possibly the Marla of this film. We'll worry about that later. But yeah, so basically everyone's just fucking with William Wallace all the time.
Right.
No fucking wonder he's so fucking crazy.
You know what? I don't know if Mel Gibson knew that was happening. I think that explains his craziness later on in life, is that he still thinks he's William Wallace being messed with.
Yeah, that does actually explain quite a bit.
Right?
It does. I wonder if it's like kind of like during I think during Blade, Wesley Snipes made everyone refer to him as Blade, even offset.
Yeah.
Like I wonder if that's like what
Just
Mel Gibson
he got
does now.
really method
like,
about it.
Right, like maybe like on camera, like to the press, he's playing the Mel Gibson.
He's playing Mel Gibson.
He's William Wallace playing Mel Gibson.
Yeah, yeah.
But then when he gets back, he's like, all right, now call me William. His accent goes on a bit of a journey,
Well,
but
Yeah,
American.
for a few times.
Well,
And also a few times you kind of hear a little bit of that, like Lethal Weapon 1 era Riggs, kind of Australian twang.
Well, I mean, maybe he went to Australia in his mind voyage.
oh, in his mind voyage, right?
and
of course.
and
He learned how
that's
to
kind
speak
of you learned it a
with
bit.
the Australian accent.
Yeah, so the end, the bit at the end when they're charging, which is we just went on a very long tangent.
Yes,
about
we
that.
did.
But I think it's Hamish's axe is just wobbly as fuck. Now you would assume that's a mistake and it's a rubbery axe because it's a movie, but obviously no, it happened within the film itself. So why is it so goddamn wobbly?
So even if you look at the truncated timeline of this rebellion,
Yeah.
I mean, this is supposed to be, several years kind of condensed into 2.5 hours.
yeah.
Assuming that's the same axe, and for the sake of continuity, let's say that's an axe that's been through a lot of wear and tear, minimum upkeep, a lot of abuse. It might be a little janky at this point.
And instead of breaking or falling apart, it gets wobbly.
It's
Right.
just it's starting to break. Like it's just like if you started breaking like a popsicle stick, sure you can bend it, it's flexible and everything else. Scale that up to the point where it's like you have
Well, and I
a
like-
full-on battle axe. It's like yeah, sure that it's going to get a little.
I like that
kinda-
that's by design. Again, we clearly know from the horse armor, there's some really interesting engineering happening.
Yeah,
there.
all right, armor
So
development, right.
so they basically built the axe to instead of break, it bends so you can still use it. And here's the thing, maybe it's even one of those things where he knows it's not useful in battle, but you can't charge with a broken axe. Like maybe it's just kind of a thing you charge with, just purely intimidation.
Like, yeah, total.
And then you bust out. Well, here's my real stabby axe.
Got it.
Because you stab with
Of course.
axes. I'm not very good at medieval
Choppy axes.
choppy.
Yeah. I like that. I like the idea that the Scots were on this verge of this amazing, incredible armor weapon
Development.
And the English fucked it up.
and the English did up. And the English fucked
The
it
English
up.
fucked it up. You know what, England? If you could have minded your own goddamn business, Scotland would have had this like Wakanda set up right now. Like they were
Scotland
days
forever.
away from discovering vibranium, but no, you had to get all fucking uppity at Falkirk. Thanks a lot, England.
They had vibranium, and then they lost the vibranium to the English. Oh.
Maybe and that's why the axe is wobbly. Like
Right.
that's the beginning
It's-
of
it's
vibranium.
rub- it's
It's
vibranium.
vibranium. Yeah.
It's just that
Vibranium does not sound cool at all. Like, oh, our economy's based on vibranium. Like, that's fine. I'm good. I'm just gonna go use something else.
I couldn't think of anything else. So.
All right.
Vibranium
No, I'm
is-
on board with vibranium.
So here's
Also, vibranium sounds like a disease. Like, yeah, did you hear about Jim? Like,
Vibranium.
vibranium. Oh no.
they caught it early though. They caught it
They
early.
caught it early. Yeah, but you can't cure vibranium. You can just.
You can only suppress it. Yeah. All right. So
This is now turned into a vibranium awareness.
Wow.
So, get checked for vibranium early and often.
you know what bits to check.
Check each other for vibranium.
So the Battle of Stirling.
Yes.
Supposed to be the Battle of Stirling Bridge.
Okay.
Where's the bridge?
Yes, if we're looking at this historically,
Okay.
it was the Battle
Again,
of Stirling Bridge.
Robert the Bruce has already said historians may call me a liar. So okay, let's.
Right.
That's already been
So,
established.
I think that it's an English smear campaign that because they got their asses kicked so badly, they didn't want to give the credit to William Wallace that it was this genius tactical move. They were like, there was a bridge. Oh, there was totally a bridge there. So
No, we were betrayed. We got
because the
we got
English
stabbed.
won in the end.
yeah. So they were like,
Yeah,
this
there.
first one there was a bridge, but when there wasn't a bridge, we kicked his ass.
Yeah,
But
right.
yeah, so it's just
Yeah, they don't want to also let it be common knowledge. It's like, how could you lose? When you knew the terrain was because we were stabbed in the
Or-
back by our own people. It's like these.
If
we're
we
jammed in the back.
go back to the Fight Club idea,
Uh-huh.
maybe this whole thing is just kind of an unreliable narrator. Maybe there was a bridge, but like that's not cool enough in William Wallace's mind.
Argyle would not
So
approve.
like because that's good strategy, but it doesn't make for an exciting self fantasy of you're just killing these guys on a bridge. So maybe in William Wallace's fantasy, like even though what's really happening is they're just killing dudes on a bridge.
Right.
His self fantasy is this massive
Giant,
combat.
massive, where he rallies the troops.
Right, and maybe
And
he
then
never
we
fucking
moon
rallied
them.
them. Maybe it's, like realistically, like maybe William Wallace was just like yelling at a stump, and he's like, "They'll never take away our freedom." And they're like,
And there's just
"William,
one-
we're fighting on the bridge. No, you're good. Okay,
You're gonna yell at that stump and the squirrel.
we're winning. Well, I mean, does the stump want to fight? I don't. Okay, cool. It's just we're gonna win, and then someone check on William.
Yeah, someone go fetch Wallace. He's yelling at squirrels again.
He's painting the squirrel face. This is my army. At the funeral, oh my God, we already answered this one. At the funeral of William's father,
Yeah.
they throw dirt on the body,
Yeah.
and it's clearly a dummy. It just
Right,
shakes.
right.
Because there's no body
Right.
in there.
It's
because that
William's
motherfucker's
father
in
is still
England.
alive.
Oh my God, I need to watch this movie again. I need
Okay, also,
reverse hot
Speaking
takes.
on the speaking of the funeral.
Yes.
Again, since an unreliable source because it comes from Uncle Durden Argyle.
Uncle Durden Argyle.
Uncle Durden.
It comes from Uncle Durden. He says that when William asks like what are they doing playing band songs on their bagpipes. Bagpipes at that point were not banned. So what is
Oh,
the-
because they call them the outlaw pipes or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what is this? Like, they were at points outlawed, but, oddly enough, they were actually outlawed around the time when kilts actually came into fashion, which was not this time.
Well,
so-
yeah, that's a whole nother.
We'll get there.
Right.
We'll get there.
That's an easy one.
Okay.
The what we wrongly infer as viewers is that these instruments have been banned, but they never flat out say that. That's literally just a band called the Outlaws. Like that's just what that. That's like.
So it's
It's like the local pub scene has this band that all they do
The
is
pub scene.
The pub scene. They play Ed Sheeran covers on bagpipes. They're the Outlaws. So it's just like, oh, that's It's outlaw music on outlaw, and maybe Argyle kind of hates it. He's like, yeah, I just want to hear from some traditional shit.
So really,
they're fucking playing all outlaw originals. Like no one wants to hear. Just play the fucking covers, play the hits, guys.
but really, William hates them, right?
But really, William hates them. Yeah, but again,
Argyle doesn't.
well, I mean, maybe that's it. It's like he doesn't want to hate them. He wants to be. He's externalizing that because you can't hate the Outlaws. They're the most popular band in this fucking area, but he secretly hates them. But again, he kind of projects it onto this fictional character that he's created in his mind. So Uncle Argyle hates the Outlaws.
Well,
but I mean, really, again, just I understand that you're a local band. You want to get your songs out there, but just play the covers, man. We're here to see the covers. Play one of your originals, so we get to know you.
Right.
Tell us where the merch table is, but just don't fucking play all outlaw songs. Play a couple of the fucking songs we want to sing along with. We don't know your songs, outlaw band.
Why are they at the funeral though?
Is
that the gig that they could get?
A gig is a gig is a gig. I mean, you're gonna play a Scottish bar mitzvah. You're gonna play a Scots mitzvah.
I bet they knew it was fake too.
I bet
they knew it was a fake funeral.
They did. They were like, "I'd feel bad, but it's fake, so who cares?"
We're good. Everybody except.
It's like, oh wait, it's a funeral. Oh, no one's gonna be coming to this shit. All right, yeah, just the originals. That's why we're not gonna play the popular shit.
And this actually backfires pretty bad for William Wallace because they start calling him the Outlaw King.
Yeah.
Just because everyone thinks he's their number one fan. He's like, that guy's the fucking Outlaw King. He's like, I fucking hate the Outlaws. I can't tell anyone though. I mean, my Uncle Argyle hates them. I guess I like them, but I fucking hate the Outlaws. All right, so that dude is into the fucking Outlaws.
Yeah, he is.
We spent a lot of time on the Outlaws, but I'm okay with that. It's pretty fun.
All right, so here's something. The princess.
Right.
Princess Isabella. Again, according to those lying historians,
right,
she never would have met William Wallace.
Okay.
And also, at the time of this rebellion, she would have been 13, so So who is Sophie Marceau supposed to be?
I'm gonna go with a Padme explanation on this one. That I think that
double.
Yeah, like a double. Like maybe she's older. Maybe the real Isabella is 13.
Still back in France.
Right, still back in France. But Sophie Marceau, because and at that point, to English people, they're like, oh yeah, French 13-year-old, yeah. That looks right because they're just fucking weird. So they're totally buying it. They're like, yeah, but Sophie Marceau is actually 23. So she's just being Isabella because the real Isabella is well, first off, she's 13, so she's super sassy and emo. She's like, I'm not gonna go marry that man. And they were like, fine, just send your fucking handmaiden and hey, just say you're Isabella. They're English. They don't fucking know. It's fine.
Just pump out a kid, make an heir to the throne, and then we'll send her over. That way we can still marry her off to someone else.
There are deep layers of political intrigue we're getting into here.
Wow.
Just saying. Lots of doubles and fake deaths. I think
feudal Scotland.
All the Scottish-English battles, that's just a smokescreen for the espionage happening. So at one point, an English soldier, a Sheeran, if you will, is referred to as corporal, but that rank did not exist yet.
Well, that was his first name.
No, corporal.
Yeah.
They call him Corpy.
Yes, but right, Corporal is so good at his job that his story is told for ages.
He was the first corporal.
And he was the very first corporal. They named the corporal rank after him.
It's like, okay, look, there's a lot of shit that needs to get done, but we can't bother the captain with this shit or the magistrate with this shit. But this guy knows everyone in the all the just the regular dudes, and they follow him. So we tell him what to do, and he can tell them what to do. It's what's his name? Corporal, and then. A generation subsequent.
We now bestow. This guy's a real fucking corporal. Yeah, and then just after a while, they're like, oh, I guess that must be his rank.
What started as just a strange name that became it's like a catchphrase and then a rank.
Yeah, I wonder, was General the same way, where they were like, that guy's an asshole. Like, in what way? Just general asshole. just generally.
And then also major asshole.
Yeah, wow. So all military ranks are just based on...
From this movie.
From this movie. Oh, wow.
Major and general are in the English army.
You're welcome, international militaries.
Also...
and also, for my 23andMe, I'm 0.2% Scottish, so basically this is the song of my people. This is my movie.
Edward the Longshanks didn't die at the same time as William Wallace. Great scene.
Right.
But actually led a campaign against Robert the Bruce for several years after William's demise.
Well, again, by the comic book wave, I don't think we ever see Longshanks die, right? I think.
Well, you see him do.
You see him
He
go.
does the. He does the.
Well, and he
But-
does the whole paralytic, like.
Right. So maybe that's
And then he
maybe
stops moving,
maybe
yeah.
that's his way of like he's totally healthy, right? But he knows he's figured out that Sophie Marceau is not the real Isabella. He's like, that bitch ain't 13. Right? So he's like, I'm just gonna lay in bed and I'm gonna pretend I'm sick, and she's gonna tell me all these secrets, like she's probably having Liam Wallace's kid.
Yeah.
And he's like, can't talk, oil can, right? So he does that, and then she leaves, and he hops out of bed. He's like, this fucking bitch. You know what she just said? And then he's watching William die. He's like, yeah, get some. And then the movie ends, and then he goes in. So yeah, he's just very clever. He's like, this chick is not gonna.
Deep cover tactics.
Right, she's keeping her hand close to her vest, so I'm going to pretend I'm sick and dying,
Yeah.
right? That's my story.
I like it.
I'm standing by it.
I like it.
Okay, so this is supposed to take place in 1276.
Right.
Kilts didn't come around till the 16th century.
Yeah.
So were these guys just like really cutting edge nouveau
Yes.
fashion?
Yeah, well, and I think they didn't know, because they never say the word kilt in the film.
No,
So I think
I know
these
it's
are
tartan,
just like
unfinished
alpha,
pantaloons.
like alpha kilts, right? Like they're just starting out, right? Because basically they were
Rebuild?
Yeah, they were pre-build. So like later on, when they kind
Mark
of refined
I
it,
kilts again.
when they hit release, they were like, there's a kilts, everyone's gonna wear these. At the time, they were just like, they kind of had pants, but they didn't have enough fabric because they had to use fabric for other stuff. They were like, I kind of like the wind on my dick, so let's just leave this, and then it makes it easier to
I
flash.
would say, which is
and
the ultimate intimidation tactic.
right. It's like blue paint, show your dick. Like that was the lesson that when William's father's leaving in the beginning.
Right.
He's like, it's wits that make us men. Also, blue paint, show your dick. Peace out. But they cut that just for time.
Well,
But that's clearly what happened.
yeah, I would agree with that.
Well, I think we've managed to
Before
prove
we go any further
that
down that one.
Braveheart is a flawless
movie.
film.
Yeah.
It's a flawless film.
Absolutely.
So well done. To
Cheers,
William
boys.
Morris and Robert the Bruce. Until next time, remember, there are no mistakes, only missed takes. Cheers.